This evening and this event and the interactions with the folks that you're going to be hearing from following me started probably about 6 months ago, where we decided that we wanted to celebrate the London Construction Association and its members because there is a tremendously rich and wonderful history associated with the LDCA. We then decided that there were companies that were over 100 years in existence, and there are over 40 of them in the LDCA as we know right now, who need to be celebrated because the accomplishment of 100 years in business is quite astonishing, and to have so many is exceptionally intriguing. It makes you almost think that there's something in the water in London that makes companies last so long. The folks that we managed to secure to sit down for interview are some of the best of the best. They have the best experiences, they have the best stories, and they are the best representatives that the LDCA would ever want to pass on to other members as to what makes the LDCA, and more importantly, what makes the construction companies in London so unique that they've been able to go from one generation to another generation. What follows is video and stories from these gentlemen as to the kinds of things that bind them all together.
Well, the year I was involved as a president was the year that we bought the Belton Quinn Lumber Company. The Builders Exchange was located in rented quarters in the Toronto Dominion Bank at the corner of Wellington and Dundas. So we formed a committee, and they wanted $20,000 to buy this building. Now the advantage of it was there was parking all around the building, whereas downtown at Dundas and Wellington there's no parking. And also it had about 8 or 9 rooms inside that you could have meetings and you could start to have plan rooms. But the big challenge was they wanted $20,000 for it. And we didn't have any money. And I can well remember the meeting. We had a real estate fellow search this out for us, and well, he wants $20,000. So one of the members of the board of directors at that time was Bill McDougall, who, as most of you will remember, was a strong player at Ellis Don, and they had a difference of opinion, and he formed his own company, W.A. McDougall. And by the mid-1960s, Ellis Don and McDougall were going hammered and tongs with each other. But Bill was on the board of directors of the Construction Association, and he thought we should buy this thing, and he said, I'll put up $5,000 if Ellis Don will put up $5,000. Now, representing Ellis Don was a young man, I think it was Jim McGorman. He had no authority to speak for Don Smith. So anyway, at the next meeting, he brought back the news that Ellis Don would put up $5,000. Now we had 10. And I think McKay Cocker then stepped in with $2,500, and I think we put in a couple of thousand. Pretty soon we had $15,000, and then it was just a matter of hitting a few sub-trades up, and we bought the building for $20,000. Growth of the association really grew, and I don't know whether that was the year we changed our name to the London Construction Association from the Builders Exchange. It might have been in and around about that. Now we were able to attract members. We had a place you could come and look at the plans. We had somebody represent you with the unions, organizing the meetings. It was a very dramatic time to be involved in the business of that's those couple of years.
Well, Jock, he was working with McKay Cocker, but he was making the whole thing work properly too. And when he died, we made a point of recognizing by raising a Jock Tyndall Award money, and it's gone into London Community Foundation, and every year the money that comes from that goes for a scholarship at Engineering Association at Western. When the centennial year came along, all the kids in school were doing projects at school to do with the centennial, and a bunch of us got together and decided we should do something for a centennial project in London. So we decided there was a property next door to the art gallery, and we said we want to put a museum next door there, and we were able to acquire the land, and we built all the stuff was donated by the contractors, the architects, and the architect that designed the thing was the shape of the centennial symbol that was built all with volunteer labor from all the various contractors.
I think the early days were probably represented by some pretty basic guys that enjoyed annual Christmas parties at the Hotel London, and had a reputation of just making a delightful evening out of the whole thing. And I think that I recall there was one of the members one time, he happened to win the Christmas turkey, which they presented him with a live turkey. And I remember him walking down Dundas Street with several of his friends with a string around the neck of the turkey, and making a lot of racket and quite enjoying themselves. But it was that type of thing. It was just good fun, good-natured fun. And we also had a field day at which is the park out on Hamilton Road. I think it's a golf club now, and it was a field day that was an annual event. It was always good fun, and it was an occasion for contractors to bring out some of their foremen and superintendents and what have you to meet and greet other members in the trades, and that was intermingling of those people, I think, was a great advantage to everybody involved. When I was a teenager, I lived in South London, and my next door neighbor actually backed onto our home was Don Smith, president of Ellis Don, and that was just in his formative years. And I had the job several summers of cutting his grass, so I kind of kidded around a little bit with Don while he was available to us of being his first major employee. So.
Well, I was recruited by Jock Tyndale, who was president of the association, I think, at that time. And he was with McKay Cocker, and I ran a non-union general construction business, and they wanted me to join as a non-union member and hopefully draw in some non-union subtrades.
Right.
They said that it wouldn't be me dealing with the City of London. I could bring my gang with me, and it worked. It was a number of voices, not just my own. The city had a signboard with all their different departments. If you wanted to get anything done in City Hall, you had to talk to 6 or 7 departments. And I suggested to the people at City Hall that build a desk downstairs and man it with their most knowledgeable people about how City Hall works and direct people through the City Hall. I arrived at City Hall one day, and there was the desk manned by 2 concierges. Somebody they'd ask for directions, and the concierge would point at the board on the wall.
My interest in the association is because it's all about construction. That's been my life, and I knew I wanted to give a little back in the industry that I was going to make my living in. Well, a lot of the things that Frank and I got involved with, I probably can't talk about. But we had a lot of good times. Frank was generally a very upbeat person. I always enjoyed working with him and socializing with him. And we always had a good time. Frank was a salesman. He was a salesman for life. His whole life was geared towards meeting people and greeting people, and I quite enjoyed the times that I spent with Frank, but we probably shouldn't talk about too many of them.